These next two episodes do a great job at setting up what's to come in the future, as well as elaborating further on who the characters are and what they are feeling. Monad Proxy is still on the loose, killing the citizens of Ramdo left and right, as well as being responsible for the large spread of the Cogito virus to autoraves. While in the first episode we only get quick glimpses of her, episode 2 definitely shows how much of a threat she really is. Even though it's never explained specifically why Monad kills so many people, I have my own interpretation. Keep in mind that Monad Proxy as a character is someone who loved Ergo, aka Vincent. Ergo had a huge burden on his shoulders, being a proxy of death, that Monad sacrificed herself so that Ergo could have his memories erased, become Vincent Law, and lead a normal life. This led Monad to fall into a coma. Little does she know that this is also part of Proxy 1's plan, which I will delve into further a bit later. The city of Mosk, Monad's own home, ends up getting destroyed, and Monad's body is retrieved and experimented on in Ramdo. The Pulse of Awakening ends up wakening her, and she has become drawn to Vincent due to previous feelings that she had for him. She really has nothing else to go by. She doesn't know exactly why she's there, or really what else is going on. Keep in mind, she's been in a coma for quite a while. So she essentially does anything she can to get close to Vincent, and anyone who she believes to be in her way is considered pretty much collateral damage. The reason she never attacks Riel is presumably because Riel was created using Monad's DNA, so Monad herself views Riel as one of her own. This is a good transition into Vincent's own characterization in these next two episodes, as these are pretty much the last episodes Vincent spends in Ramdo for a good while. At the beginning of the show, on the outside, Vincent is mostly following the rules, doing what's expected of him, and not being very notable or interesting as a result, which is made specifically clear when they question whether or not he may have been Riel's quote-unquote stalker, to which Riel laughs at the possibility of that, mostly because he's so dedicated to just doing what he can to be an ideal citizen, and just fitting in with the crowd, that him stalking Riel would end up making him stand out way too much. He states that the reason he was at Riel's house that night was because of a report about an infected autorave. What makes his character more interesting is less the ideal citizen he's trying to become, and more so his past that he had completely forgotten, creeping back up to completely change not only him but the entirety of Ramdo as well. What I believe to be the starting point of when he starts to question himself as well as his own past is during the train scene at the beginning of episode 3. Now, trains in general can symbolize many different things in anime, but the most common symbolism is usually the beginning of a journey. Think Makoto Shinkai's 5 centimeters per second. In this case, the scene signifies the start of a journey of self-discovery. During this train scene, Vincent gets a vision from Proxy 1, Vincent's creator, a sign of what happened in the past. I'm sad, yet laughing. Proxy 1 is, in a way, sad that he's forced to follow what has already been laid out for him. He's forced to follow the Pulse of Awakening. He's going to die off eventually. Proxy 1's own creators just abandoned him and led him to a horrible fate. At the same time, in spite of that sadness, Proxy 1 is still laughing because he's going to attempt to destroy humanity, in order to fight back and take revenge against those that have abandoned him. Which is what these missiles in that vision specifically show. Proxy 1 is in that same train with Vincent, trying to nudge him into taking revenge against the creators of the proxies. I will discuss more on who exactly these creators are, and why exactly these creators had abandoned Proxy 1 in a later part. However, at this point, the train scene is when Vincent starts to question things more and more. Why is Ramdo doing this to me? I didn't do anything wrong. Maybe Ramdo is wrong. But wait, an ideal citizen of Ramdo does not question the system. The red blood stain on his hands even furthers this, as that pretty much reveals that he killed Monad. There's blood on his hands, there's no turning back. Ramdo isn't going to forgive him. This is cemented even further when he finds the dead carcass of his entourage Dorothy lying on the floor. All of this leads him to making even more rash decisions in spite of firmly believing that he's innocent. He calls up Riel and pretty much says that he's leaving. He's better off gone from Ramdo. He's given up trying to become this ideal citizen. It's not worth it. What makes this more interesting is the fact that he teams up with Pino, and this is the beginning of their own dynamic. He wants to escape, he wants to leave Ramdo, and because Pino is Raul's autorave, she knows her way around the city. Furthermore, she has the Cogito virus. In episode 2, when the atrocity in the mall occurs, Vincent bumps into Pino while attempting to run away from Monad. This leads to her praying and growing a sense of self-awareness. This start of her own self-awareness begins her own character arc within the show, which, of course, I will delve into further as the series goes along. Riel's character in these next 2 episodes is more of her questioning the world around her, and especially once that proxy comes into her life that previous night. She wants to know everything about what's going on. What have people been hiding from her all this time? What I find particularly interesting about her character is that she herself is in a position of power. She's the regent's granddaughter. Usually in a lot of shows, the character attempting to unlock the truths that the establishment is hiding is from the outside. However, she herself is in a position of authority within that establishment, but still doesn't know everything about what's going on. At this point in time, Iggy is there as a parent-like figure to support Riel and to guide her, but at the same time to hold her back from obtaining the truth about the proxies. This is shown specifically when he prevents Riel from visiting her house after what had happened the other night. The Administrative Bureau is using Iggy to essentially monitor Riel, so she herself cannot open up to Iggy, but Iggy himself does not understand why she's acting the way she is. This lack of communication leads to confusion, but this same lack of communication is also needed for Riel to continue her search. At the same time, Riel feels very desperate in her search for the truth, so much so that she risks her own safety alongside her own position. When she gets mentally checked at Daedalus' office, she risks getting into trouble in order to look up what she saw last night. Riel enters the mall after 42 people had just died against orders and finds Vincent's pendant. The same pendant that she told Vincent to abandon. She even puts others in danger because of her own actions. This is specifically made clear when she chases down Vincent because she knows he's connected to the proxy in some way, and Riel wants Vincent to stay in Ramdo. But by going to him, she's only making it easier for the Security Bureau to find him. All because she just cannot sit back and stay ignorant to the truth that's being kept away from her. This wasn't an illusion. I didn't make this up. I have to find out what's going on. I've saved the most interesting character for last. Raul Creed. Raul was someone who had it all. He was in power. He had a family. He had wealth. But what happened at the mall that day changed everything. When Monad was attacking all of those people, who did she kill but Mrs. Creed, and even worse, indirectly, their own child that they had just adopted an episode prior? Raul couldn't do anything to stop Monad. All he could do was just stand there and watch, and when his own wife dies, he cannot shed a single tear. He cannot yell. He cannot show any sort of emotion. He needs to stay strong. He's the head of the Security Bureau. He's on top. But with all of these emotions he's holding within himself, they need to be let out somewhere. Who was there at the scene of the crime? Who survived? Who was being chased by Monad? Who is the reason my family's now dead? Vincent Law. Thus, the obsession begins. In episode 3, Iggy states that the Intelligence Bureau had been accessed 74 times that day, which transitions then to a scene with Raul. He's pressing a few keys on the piano, but then the phone rings. It keeps ringing, and ringing, and ringing. He does not answer. Instead, he slams his fist on the piano. Then what does Vincent find but his entourage? Dorothy, lying there, dead. Pino is flashing on the screens in that same room. What happened? Who killed Dorothy? It's never actually revealed through words within the show, but the answer is, Raul killed her. He felt he had to. He had to get back at Vincent for what happened with his own family. I lost the people I valued in life, now you lose yours. Plus on top of that, I'm going to make it look like you were responsible for it. Pino's all on the screens because Raul is holding on to her. Holding on to the only person he can call family. Raul cannot tell anyone about his acts of desperation. He certainly cannot let Kristeva know. As the collective have stated before, the people of Ramdo can easily be replaced if necessary. His position as chief of the Security Bureau does not allow him that much leeway to make mistakes or to commit such atrocities against humans or autoraves. So as a whole, a common thread among these two episodes is a sense of desperation and obsession. Monad is obsessed with Ergo to the point that she will kill anyone that stands in her way. Vincent is obsessed with becoming an ideal citizen, so much so that if he cannot succeed in doing so, he'll make a rash decision like running away into a place that's thought to be uninhabitable. Riel is obsessed with seeking the truth, so much so that she'll risk getting herself as well as others into trouble just to find it out. Raul is obsessed with eliminating Vincent, so much so that he would kill Vincent's own entourage in an attempt to frame him. It really creates a solid character conflict between everyone involved. What will make this setup particularly interesting is where these acts of desperation will lead the characters within the show. That's it for part 2. Stick around next time when I discuss the world of Ergo Proxy outside the dome. Special thanks once again to the Ergo Proxy Wikia, as well as the Gray Spectrum Annal. Be sure to check both out, they're both great places if you want more information on the show. If you enjoyed this video or didn't enjoy it, please leave it a like or a dislike, doesn't matter, both will be appreciated. And of course, if you have something interesting to say, leave it in the comments below. And if you liked this video and you want to see similar content in the future, be sure to subscribe if you have yet to do so. It will definitely help me out a lot, every subscription counts. Thank you for watching.